So what we got here then is I've gone into Google UK, and quite literally I've gone into Google MyMaps. Really very useful indeed. As you can see from the screen in front, I've got many maps that I've gone through on some of my tours. And just to give you a little example of that route, I'm going to put up the old German tour of 2021 so you can just see what I've plotted. So what this does here in this view here, before we start doing anything, this is something I've created. So this is showing a route from Calais down into Luxembourg, into Saarbrücken, Strasbourg, into the Black Forest, across into South Germany's Garmisch-Partenkirchen, north up the Romantic Road, all the way to Hameln, Pied Piper territory, and all the way back down, really back to Calais. This mapping is available if you want it. If you wanted to do this route, I can send this to you, not a problem at all. But this is a plan route that's been exported in a KML, KMZ format, and then I've crunched it into a GPX version. Okay, so it's really important you know that. So this is just one example. What I'll do now is take you into the creation of a new map. So here we go. Let's create a new map together. So first of all, log into Google Maps. It will ask you for a Google password, which is absolutely fine, which is your normal Google account. And then just type in My Maps. And you can type in My Maps from any browser. Won't make any difference. Let's have a look at what we've got on the dashboard. So there's a search engine at the top, so you can maybe look for where you want to go. We've got the opportunity where it says Untitled. If we click into that, what we're going to do is give this map a name. So I'm going to put this as the, let's call it something. Let's do excuse my keyboard, Bad Burger Tour 2022. Burger, because I love burgers. We'll save that. All right, you can call that anything you like, really. It's really that naming convention is to allow you to refer back to it at any time that you want to. Let's go down a little bit. And first of all, what you notice, it says all changes are saved in the drive. Anything you do now, if I were to close this program, the savings would stay there and you'd be able to come back to it again based on the Bad Burger Tour 2021. So don't be afraid, you'll never lose this stuff. The minute this closes down, it stays with you. So a couple of things for you. You've got an add layer button, a share and a preview. The preview will give you a preview of what you've done. Share is fairly obvious. The add layer is quite important, really. So each layer has around 9 different locations that you can ride to. When you run out of 9 or get to the bottom of 9, it won't allow you to add any more in a layer. So then you have to add another layer, but you'll see that as we go through. So just below that, we've got an untitled layer here. So what we could do is call this Day 1, and we're going to say Calais to Bastogne, which is in Belgium, and my keyboard is garbage, so you will have to excuse me for that. Now what we're going to do is build that. This base map is just where we are. It changes the styling. So let's look up here. So I don't need to search anywhere because I'm just going to tap it into the directions button. So right, undo, redo. Select items means I've got the ability to move the map around, as you can see. This puts a pin drop where I want to add a marker. I can even draw a line, which is really useful as well. And here we'll be adding directions, and that will then measure any distances. But there's a trick to understanding how far you're going to go, because I'll show you how to do that. So the first thing we're going to do, now that we've created Calais to Bastogne here, we've created that now, that's going to be the first leg of the journey. What we're going to do now is look at the directions. And as soon as I do that, you can see it's saved, and it says all changes are saved in Drive. So this is the first layer, really. So Calais to Bastogne. What we're going to do now is type here Calais, and I'm going to put in the Eurotunnel as an example. So that's the from point, and then the end point I'm going to put Bastogne. Now I want to go to the War Museum in Bastogne, so that's where I'm going to go, because that's going to be my first stop. What you've got here then is, as I move the map along, is Your start point at A is from Calais, and it's giving you a route. Looks pretty much motorway until you come down here when it drops into Bastogne. So a bit like Google Maps or similar, when you put it onto your normal phone, Google Maps will give you probably 3 alternatives to use. But you don't need to worry about that in this format, because this will do, or will allow you to change your mind about which way you want to go. So what I can do in here is add a destination. So if I wanted to go to, let's just say Maubeuge, let's put that into there. So add destination, Maubeuge, and as you can see on the left hand side it's come up there. Now what I'll do is, because it's now looking in the order from A, B and C, which is Calais to Bastogne to Maubeuge, I want to click C and move that up. So I want the stop to be there, and already you can see it's changed the route for me. Just so you know, this road here is a toll road that comes all the way down in France, so it will cost you to actually ride it. So what we can do is, like I said, we can add destinations and we can change the routing priority any way which we feel that need to. So as I look along this map at the minute, there are a couple of places potentially that I want to go, but rather than put them in there so I use all 9 of these lines, I'm going to create the route myself. So when I come out of Calais here, I want to go up the A16, hit the A25 to around about here, then I want to come off onto the A23 and then come along. So quite literally click on the line, you'll see these small dots. All I'm going to do is press my mouse button on it. I'm going to drag the route up like that. As you can see, that's now created the route from Calais to Dunkirk, and it's come down the A25. And quite luckily, and I've not had to do very much to this, what's happened is it's now feathered the route into Valenciennes, all across the Maubeuge and all the way along. Now, what I can do is I do this route and I just observe it and just see where it's going. I can then think about other places that I'd like to go on that route as well at the same time. Firstly, let's look at how long it takes to go there. So, 3 little tips here where you've got the layer options. If you click that and look at step-by-step directions, you can see the total in kilometres is 363, and it's going to take you about 4 hours and 40 minutes. And it even gives you all of the directions that you need to take to actually get from A to B. If you wanted to print them off, you could do so and put them onto your tank bags to have a look at them. Don't need to at this point. I'm more than happy with that routing. What I can do, of course, is using the zoom in button here. I can just zoom in, move the map around, and just make sure that the road that it's given to me, or the route that it's given to me, is what I want it to be. And as you can see there, you can move things around. Now what I can do, of course, is just go back, and that will just change that back, as you can see. Okay, so the route looks all right to me. Let me just zoom in, because there's some other bits that I want to do, because I'm thinking about, what about we have a coffee stop, and I like to have a coffee stop somewhere in Maubeuge. If I look at Maubeuge and zoom in a little bit closer, you can have a look at some of the sort of closer areas to see if you wanted to maybe drop down, have a McDonald's, have some lunch, and look what we've got here. We've got a little shopping area that's got a nice pizzeria, and if I wanted to, I could add this to my destination and have that as my stop, really, if I wanted a cup of coffee. So that's quite useful. As I look down the route in here, what I probably do want to do, I quite like the look of this D936 road here, Route de Nationale. It looks a bit straight, but I think it would be nice to come probably this way to Beaumont, rather than going all the way up and down to the motorway. So again, what it will allow me to do is just configure this a little bit. So what I can do is actually move that down here, and then I can drop this line down there, drop Maubeuge, because that's a place that it's going to be. So the location, I can just move it anywhere discriminately like that, and that's give you the address route in there. And then I can move this along like that, have a look and see if I fancy that route. And if not, I could obviously look at some of these other routes here, like the D80, if I wanted to go a little bit further south. So looking along then, this goes into Beaumont, which is fine. I'm quite happy with that bit of the journey there. Okay, and it's moving along this route here. And again, this is quite good. You can come to some nice beauty spots where you might say to yourself, well, actually, I do fancy probably sort of navigating down here where there's a photo opportunity and looking at some of these lakes. I know this from before, this is quite a beauty spot. So if you wanted to do that, you could just drag this down and create a loop that would go around this reservoir or this lake and then cut yourself back up there as well. So this is heading into Phillipville, which is good. I'm quite happy with that so far, there's no problems with that. It's off main motorways, it's on a 2-lane carriageway to major A road. It's not a motorway, that's the main thing. So coming in through there, there are some really nice places to go. So Dinant is always nice. So we've got a couple of bits over the water, a photo opportunity in Dinant. Dinant's very good actually. So I'm going to say, well, actually what I want to do is go up and into Dinant, because I want to go over the bridge, because the bridge itself has got all of those gorgeous flags on it. So therefore that will do me quite nice. But as you can see, what I'm doing or can do is change that routing to suit. See, when you get the lines that don't correspond or it tries to go back on itself, what you can do of course is you can change that quite literally by just go back one, and it will go back to what it was before. And if I wanted to come back down into the old route that we were on, I could do so, or I could just stick with what I am. So if I just look at the maps, I'm quite happy going with that way, bit of cross country. So I get to Dinant, which is really good. I can then have a look up here, where am I going now? Okay, scroll out a little bit. And what you can see is everything sort of drops down as we get into Bastogne. And this little place here called Givet is particularly smart. Givet has got a real good spot on it. So actually I want to go to Givet. So I'm going to click that one there. I'm going to drag it at Givet here. So we're going in and through the town. I appreciate I've got that there as well. See if there's a way that I can circumnavigate that piece in. So there we go. So I've created a route into Dinant all the way down, and this will come down. I could have used the 95. Let's have a look in Dinant. Or Givet. Givet's got a really good spot there. There's a large castle that's really worth a sort of view as well. So it's definitely worth a little trip through. So Givet's nice. So we've added that to the route. That's the way it's going there. And nothing stops us if we wanted to go slightly north of here and come down to the N4, or we could drop down again furthermore into the Ardennes. So the Ardennes will drop down here. I could probably drop down in the N95 here, which is quite a nice little trip. Or if I wanted to, I could just do this more picturesque route here. Actually, probably looks a bit better. Follow the water down. And just to add a little bit of bendy curvature, we've done that to the route already. That then gives us a bit of an end piece and gets us then into Bastogne, which is where the War Museum is really at that point. So let's zoom out and look at that. So as you can see, we've created a good journey there. Let's have a look how far that is now. So step-by-step directions. 6 hours, 24 minutes, about 458 kilometres in total. So if you're thinking about doing 250, 300 miles a day, this will probably fit in that bag there or thereabouts. So for example, if I get off the train, you know, in Calais at 8 o'clock in the morning, by about tea time, I'm going to be sat here having a beer, etc., ready for the next day. So that is a good example of one leg or two legs. If I wanted my day to be longer, then clearly what I would do is make this further and drag it down in here, because what we're going to do is going to go into Baden, and we're going to drift down the B500, and then we're going to drop back up to the Vosges here. I'm going to drop back along here and then drift back into Calais. So that's an example of just one little layer that we can do. Now if I wanted to, I can add a layer, and in this case I'm going to, so add a layer. I'm now going to do exactly the same, which is this directions button, and I'm going to put the first one again as Bastogne, which is where we left off the first layer. And what I'm going to do from here is say that I want to go to Seebach, which is in Germany, and that is quite literally on the Black Forest. So as you can see, the routing has taken us to here, and then A has then brought us this way, but I want to probably move that so it's a bit different and not come down the E25. Again, as you can see, I'm manoeuvring this, and what it's done is put me on the motorway. Again, if I want to do the motorway, that is absolutely fine. If I wanted to come back up here around St Wendel and other places, it's my opportunity at this moment in time. I can change that routing and just make it a bit more fantastic. So BitJ is quite a good one to use. So if I drag that to BitJ, look at the difference that's made. So although it's come south of Luxembourg, okay, quite happy. Maybe that I drop here, but no, I'm quite happy to stay across country at this point. And maybe if there's a way that I can go slightly further more up, maybe via Liebach, and let's just see if I maybe go to St Wendel, which is up there like that. That looks a lovely drop all the way down through Homburg is going to be quite good as well. So if I drop that there, then drop to Homburg, pull this out and do that. This then drops through BitJ, and this part of the northern part of the Vosges is absolutely fantastic. It's a great place to come and visit, to be fair with you. So again, that's a great opportunity. This will then take me in. I'm quite happy with the rest of that route. That looks okay to me. So if I zoom that back out again, yeah, okay, as you can see, it's quite a leg, isn't it? So you've got leg 1, which is here, and then leg 2, which is there. Looking at this layer in particular, let's have a look how far away that is. Step-by-step directions. 5 hours 6, 351 k's. Definitely keeping within your sort of parameters of travel. Again, it gives us the opportunity to map the route out as well. Okay, so that's leg 2. So in theory, I'm thinking day 1, I'm thinking day 2, and then what I want to do is get into the nitty-gritty of day 3, which will be to take us from, and let's add another layer, again at the top corner. We're going to go to directions. I'll do this one more layer, I won't do the way back, and then what I'll do is show you how to convert it. So if we go to Seebach, Germany, it's going to pick that up, and then the end state, I'm going to bring us into Colmar here, because Colmar is a great place. So type that in, Colmar, France, and it's giving you what a route that they'd want you to do. But we don't want to do that, because what we want to do is do the B500. So if I wanted to, and I know that up here is a good place to start from, is Baden-Baden. I could do Baden-Baden anyway, and change that. So what I'm going to do is drag this across here and say that I want to go on the B500, thank you. Let's move this and go down the 294, because that's a particularly fine route. And then what we can do is drag this across here to come down onto the B500, and I want to come all the way down. Look, I want to come to the Titisee. There. So what I've managed to do is get pretty much the B500 in with some nice little bit of cross country there. So it starts there, we'll drop into Feudalstadt, and we can have a little look at as we get close in to see where that goes into Friedrichstadt, and that's what I like about this. It's a fantastic tool to use invariably. But when you look at this, there's also some Magico stuff there, so I want a little bit different now. So I'm going to take that. I want to come this way. I'm desperate to get across country. Let's get rid of that for a minute. Drop it down there. Perfect. Look at this. So we've gone down the B500. We've gone right deep, dark and nasty. And then we're coming down. Look at this. Chaos there. Fantastic. So it drops in and then drops down at Lake Titisee, which is a fantastic spot. And just to give you an example, I've toured down the 500 all the way down into Switzerland, which is just below. So nothing would stop you if you wanted to drag that there, take it all the way down the 500, then move it around a little bit to come up, like that, and then in the 4, and then Colmar. So what we've got there is 3 legs. I'm quite happy with where it goes to be, or where it's going to be. And let's just look at it. Day 1, day 2 and day 3, and then you'd probably spend a couple of days here and start moving around the park and playing around, maybe dipping into Switzerland, whatever, before you sort of headed back. So once you're happy with that route, okay, once you're happy with that, what we can do then is we can have a look at converting that into a KML KMZ. So what we can do here is, up this 3 dot to the top right past the Bad Burger tool, we can export it. So if I click that and I want to do the entire map, it will give the route for the entire map. What I could do is do the directions from the Eurotunnel to Bastogne, directions from Bastogne to Seebasch, directions from Seebasch to Colmar. Okay, but as it happens, what I'm going to do is just do the whole map. The other bits we've got here then is, I'm going to ignore those. I'm quite happy to not untick any of those. I'm going to download that. That's going to go up here like that, as you can see. And that is the KMZ file that we talked about. So I've basically gone, I'm going to go from this now, and this is just to give you a quick summing up really. We've added 3 layers. First leg, day 1, day 2 and day 3. We've manipulated the map by dragging the lines to fit whichever way we want to go. So we're looking at the good stuff, we're looking at Google Maps, we're looking at the roads, we decided on the route. We know by looking at all of those, I can do step-by-step directions at each leg, and it will tell me where to go if I need to know. There's all the routing, it will give me the distance and it will give me the time. So when you're planning, I tend to do 250 to 300 miles every day. That's quite useful that you can sort of get involved in that, so it's really good. So what we're going to do now then is we're going to open another program called GPS Visualizer. This is a free program that you can use. That's the address bar there for you. And what this will do is encode it from a Google's map, KMZ or KML. And what it will do is convert it to a GPS. So up at the top corner here, or in the top left, convert a file. So all I do here, where it says an output format, you've got plain text, a GPX for your sat nav, or Google Earth KML, which is already here, so I don't need that. I'm going to click GPX please, and I'm going to ask it to look for a file. So what I'll do is look at the Bad Burger tool, which is this one here, which is looked on my Mac, and you'll see that wherever you decide to save it, and double click it. What it's done here is file 1, it's put the Bad Burger tool. All I'm going to do is convert that. Now sometimes, depends on the speed of your computer or your computer that you're using, I sometimes find it can be a bit notorious that it doesn't work on a Mac. Sometimes it will work on Windows better. As it happens, it's worked on this. I'm going to rename it because that number sort of thing doesn't work for me. So invariably what we can do is go through that, and we can then look at, you know, changing that name. Really is the option to that. And you can see little things blobbing all over the page past the screen for me. I can share that if I wish to as a mail. You know, download the link file as. So I'm going to save this now as something different. It's going to be the Bad Burger tool. And I hate my computer because I can't see when my caps lock is on or off, unfortunately. So I've done that again, so I'm just going to smack myself in the face. Burger Tour 2021. I'm going to put it onto the desktop. It's just there. That's the save location for this, and then I'm going to save it. So that's all in. What we've got there is the Bad Burger tour in its entirety. I've now got a file on my desktop. What I'm now going to do is open my TomTom My Drive, because what I want to do is send it to my satellite navigation system. So if I put in TomTom My Drive there, so what this will do is link in, and it will obviously allow allow me to just log in. Keep me logged in, log in. Drop that down. So this is what I normally get from mine. So if you look at the dialogue on the left, I can look at my routes, and if you look, they're all of my routes at the moment that I've got into this drive system, which is really very good. Just accept that for a minute. So what I'm going to do now to bring that file in is I'm going to import a GPX file. I'm going to select that file. I'm then going to go to the desktop, and hopefully Bad Burger Tour 2021 is going to be there. So I'm going to double click that. And what you'll see in a second, you'll see directions to. There you go. And what it's done here is there's three things it's done. It's broken it down into three elements of that journey for me, which is really very useful. So if I click, this is the Calais bit to Bastogne, this is Bastogne to the Black Forest, and this is the Black Forest down to Colmar. So it's really useful. So let's open the top one. There it is. There's the route. That's from Bastogne. Let's click back. So let's do Calais. So you can overview your route and just make sure it's not made any changes, and it hasn't. I've put a lunch in there at Subway, which is really useful, and this is going to go to Dinant and come down the way I wanted it to go, which is fantastic. So that is the route. I'm just going to change that now and just change the naming convention again. So I'm going to put Bad Burger with uppercase all over the trousers. Bad Burger Tour 2021, and then put day 1 like that. I'm going to save it. That's going to come through quite nicely, and then I'm going to sync this to track with all my devices. So basically, when I put my TomTom 550 in here, the my drive, it will then pick it up and it will come straight across to it. So that's the first one with the naming convention changed, and then we can say, well, let's look at the part 2. Let's do exactly the same. Let's get rid of that. Let's do the uppercase thing, because you can't beat a bit of uppercaseage like that. I hate this keyboard massively. 2021, day 2. Oh my lord, somebody shoot me now. Day 2. Yeah, we're going to save that. We're then going to allow it to sync with my devices, and then you can see this route that we're now pulling down all the way there. And then finally, what you can do then is go to your last one, which is your directions from Seabach to Colmar. So exactly as you did before, uppercase to death, Bad Burger Tour 2021, day 3. Save that. Now what you have got now is you've got Bad Burger Tour day 1, day 2 and day 3. So there's day 1, there's day 2 and there's day 3. So opening back up, what we've done is 3 things. Okay, we've created the routing using Google MyMaps. When I close this, this will save automatically. What I've done is named it. Okay, didn't need to add a layer first, all right, but I've named this direction from Calais to Eurotunnel. I put some directions in there by adding directions. I put a from and to, and then all I've done is clicked on the line and maneuver the line to suit the route I want to take. So day 1, then day 2, I've done exactly the same, but this time I've added a layer as the day 2, and that will then take it and give me the option. You can see as I go over that, you see what's happening to the route there. You can see which part of the route you're talking to, or you're talking about. You can edit it, you can call it what you want, you can delete it, you can add destinations, you can change the order. And like I said, how long does this layer take me? It's 3:51, 5 hours 6 minutes, and this tells me which way to go. So I've got all of the mapping done, and just to show you what the map looks like, it's incomplete. What you do is put the 4th layer in, and I will go from here to somewhere up it to maybe Verdun, which is a nice place, and then the last leg will be back to Calais. You can do the same in UK, makes no difference. So if you're using this, you can also use it in the UK. Once I've got the map, what I did was I exported it. So click the 3 dots, export to KML KMZ. That will go to your normal save location. And then from this, then I opened up a program called GPS Visualizer. And what the GPS Visualizer does, it allows me to convert a file. And I wanted a GPX one. I can then choose the file. It will pick out where I selected it and then just press convert. That then creates the GPX file itself. So you've now got a saved GPX file on your drive. Your TomTom, open that program up, and all you're doing is looking at my routes, and down here is import a GPX file. If you're using other ones like Scenic, you can go to the Scenic web browser and do it exactly the same way. It makes no difference at all, and it's a very good application. Import the file, you'll go to a pit location, you then drag it in or select the file, it will then lock in. Do your naming convention, day 1, day 2, day 3, and quite literally that is you done. What you can do now, of course, is plug in your TomTom navigation system, or using your mobile phone, no different. What you can do then is transfer either from your file into your handheld device or into your TomTom Drive 550. So really, really useful. That took me no more than probably 40 minutes to do the full map. I could probably do the full map in less than an hour, routing it the way I want to. I would probably add in things like rest stops, places to eat, and also when I'm in sort of into Europe, in this sort of area here, I can also do days out. So some real good areas. So I normally head across here, across the top, in past Kempton to Garmisch-Partenkirchen, and then stay there. And then what I will then do is do Stelvio Pass, and all these sort of areas down here, and into Italy and into Austria, to do all of those routes as well. So what I can do is, just to show you, if I open a map, this is a list of all of my maps that I can look at, and it really very useful. As soon as you do one, you know that's all you need to do. It really is. So you're lots of different ones there. If I put the Stelvio Pass and select it, there you go. That's a day out. So we were here in Landeck, and that's where we were accommodated. And for me, what I wanted to do was pick a route out that took me down past the sunken village, which is a place called Curon. It's a very, very good place to see, actually. And this will then take you over Stelvio, which is here. It's only not showing it because of the snow, and the road will be closed at the moment, I think. And it drops you into here, and then it brings you round on a route. And if I looked at that tour as well, we could see that day out was about 4 hours, so about 202 k's. So when you stop somewhere, which I do, normally do 2 or 3 days in one place, I can then go and explore the other bits and pieces you've got, which are much further afield. You've got Grossglockners and all the rest of it. There's a Grossglockner just there. You know, you've got Birches Garden up here. So if you're staying here, you could do a day. You could plan a day trip in the way that I've showed you, from here all the way across to Birches Garden and back. You could even do one that goes into Grossglockner via Innsbruck and then just come back around this way. But there's so much to see and do, so that gives you an example really. But as you can see, all of the maps are saved there. Even the last one that I did will be there, so I can open a map, no different. Here's the Bag Burger tour. Let's have a look at that again. That'll change. There's your map, all done. Really, really quite simple. Well, hopefully that has actually been some good use to you. And like I said, it's open-ended. You can stop anywhere and then do some mapping to explore it, and you can even do it when you get there if you're one that carries your laptops with you and things like that. So really, really good. I've I rate it fully, never had a problem with it. Like I said, I swear by it, and I found it infallible. You know, I've done these routes year in, year out, and it's never ever let me down. So at least that does work. So yeah, good across any platform. You can use your standard mobile phone to your navigation system. You can use your TomTom devices for your navigation system. So like I said to you before, if you download the TomTom app on your mobile phone, it will cost you £30 to download all the European, the whole Europe mappage, but you'll pay a £12 a year subscription. But once you've done the maps, £12 a year, it's all in. And it's really, really good, by the way. And using the same format here, go into My Drive, create an account, that will then link into your one on your mobile phone. So it takes away any of the stress. So you're on the computer creating it, but then that goes onto your mobile phone, fixed, job done. And the same with a program called Scenic. Calimoto probably does it very similar as well. And there's loads out there. So it's horses for courses, isn't it? So, well, that's it really. Routing system, how to use MyMaps on Google. Hope you enjoyed it. And if there's anything you want to know, just DM me or just put a comment in the link below. And hope you enjoy the video. And if there's anything more you want to know, then please do give me a shout. But above all, just give us a thumbs up if you don't mind. And if you don't mind, just subscribe to the channel. You lose nothing. I don't really gain anything, but knowing that you'll be around to look at some of the videos and the stuff that I'm going to do. Right, guys, well, have a good rest of your afternoon, and take care and see you soon. This is the Banjo Rider. Keep safe.